Every story appears ordinary till you see the core side of it.
And what you're looking for is the story behind the news.
We bring it to you from Lagos, the commercial capital of Nigeria.
Giving you all sides and political stories round the clock.
Every detail from the start line to the final whistle.
Core TV News, expanding your view.
Good morning, Core TV News on the hour. I'm Tolu Ojewumi. Ekiti State Governor Kayode Fayemi has thanked the people of Ekiti for their support during the governorship election, while congratulating the victorious candidate of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, Ayodele Fayose. Governor Kayode Fayemi, who promised to work with the newly elected governor of the state to continue to move the state forward, called on all sons and daughters of Ekiti to come together after what he described as at times divisive electioneering campaign.
About 30 minutes ago, I spoke with my brother, Mr. Peter Ayodele Fayose, congratulating him on his victory. In a few hours from now, on Monday morning, I will be meeting the governor-elect to discuss the future of our dear state and how we would work together to institute a smooth transition program. It has been a hard-fought election. As expected, in the course of the campaign, there were unsavory episodes as the candidates toured the nooks and crannies of the state to sell ourselves to our people. Elections tend to be highly divisive affairs that often see brother rising against brother. Despite our diverse party affiliations, and regardless of which way we voted on Saturday, we must remember that we're all sons and daughters of Ekiti State. Ekiti remains ours to build together. On our part, over the course of the campaign, we presented our scorecards before the people of Ekiti State. We never at any point took your support for granted. We campaigned, we canvassed, and we traversed the nooks and crannies of this state. Our performance and achievements in office will remain the backdrop against which the next government, and indeed future governments, will be assessed. We are proud that with the support of Ekiti people, we have raised the bar of excellence in governance.
Still on the just concluded election in Ekiti, the concession and congratulatory message of Governor Fayemi has elicited reaction from the governor-elect in Ekiti, Ayodele Fayose. Addressing journalists in Ado-Ekiti, Fayose appreciated the spirit of sportsmanship of Governor Fayemi and promised to consolidate on the project of the incumbent governor. Ekiti State correspondent Rashid has details.
Since their announcement of former Governor Ayo Fayose as the winner of the June 21st governorship election in Ekiti, series of events have greeted the outcome. The biggest is the congratulatory message of Governor Fayemi when jubilation by PDP members was at its peak. Ayo Fayose commended Fayemi for the bold step taken in accepting the result. He promised to extend the hand of fellowship to Fayemi.
Governor Fayemi has called me early hours of this morning to concede the faith. And I will see him tomorrow, hopefully, for us to let the public know that we are together, irrespective of our past. Ekiti belongs to us all. A governor has only got a time, term, and tenure, but Ekiti will remain forever.
Though the APC and the PDP might belong to different schools of thought, Fayose assured the people of Ekiti that projects embarked upon by Fayemi will not be abandoned.
We have to work and take over from where Fayemi stops and do it and make sure Ekiti people get the best out of these things. It is not about Fayemi, it's not about Fayose, it's about the people.
Fayose called on security agencies for the release of anyone arrested or detained in connection to any political violence that erupted during the electioneering campaigns.
To the police and security agencies to kindly release everybody, irrespective of their political party, that has been detained for one reason or the other.
The sportsmanship exhibited by top contenders in the election has elicited hope that the post-election period in Ekiti will be devoid of any form of acrimony as experienced in the time past. Rashid, Core TV News, Ado Ekiti.
In the meantime, President Goodluck Jonathan has commended the leadership of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, for its efforts in bringing back Ekiti to the PDP fold and urged it to bring back Lagos, Osun and others. Jonathan made a commendation when members of the PDP National Executive Committee, led by its chairman, Adamu Muazi, visited him at the presidential villa to congratulate him on the successful conduct of the Ekiti election. The president challenged the PDP to continue to work hard so as to ensure electoral victory for the party in future elections in the country. Jonathan commended members of the security services, INEC and other stakeholders for ensuring smooth and peaceful conduct of the election. The president reiterated the determination of his administration to address all the socio-economic challenges facing the country. He reassured Nigerians that the PDP-led government will continue to pursue the ongoing transformation of all sectors of the nation's economy, especially in the area of road transport, agriculture and education. Now, the Conference of Speakers of State Legislatures of Nigeria has sought for financial autonomy for state houses of assembly in the country. This is contained in a communique issued in Uyo and signed by Eugene Odo, Speaker of the Enugu State House of Assembly and Chairman, Committee and Communique. According to the communique, the autonomy will enable assemblies to be effective and efficient in the discharge of their legislative duties. The conference called on the National Assembly to expedite actions on the ongoing process of constitution amendment and transmit same to state assemblies for further legislative actions. It also appealed to the state lawmakers to ensure stability in the polity and entrenchment of democracy by avoiding frequent and unconstitutional change of leadership of the assemblies. The lawmakers affirmed their support for President Goodluck Jonathan in the fight against terrorism and urged Nigerians to unite and restore peace in the country. Former Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nasir El-Rufai, has called on the government and Nigerians in general to work towards removing the root causes of corruption. He was speaking at the monthly lecture of The Companion on the topic Corruption and the Challenge of Good Governance. J. Martins was there. His report presented in our studios.
The former minister, who was the guest speaker, said good governance and corruption have a link. He says the best way to put Nigeria on the path of good governance is for corruption to be tackled from the roots, especially for public servants.
And sometimes they don't get paid on time. Their police stations have no material, no writing material, no pens, no electricity. So we must attack these roots. We must remove what can push an honest person towards corruption. Because the person that cannot feed his family or send his children to school or pay his hospital bills, I'm sorry, is incapable of being honest. So we must attack the roots of corruption.
Discussant at the gathering, Debo Adeniran and Muiz Banire spoke on the greed of those in public office, saying most corrupt acts are just purely covetousness. Muiz Banire decried what he termed the politicization of religion as a form of corruption.
I submit strongly that is an act of corruption, because like our current governor said, on the road that you fly, the water you drink, is it really there or is it dictated by your religion or your faith? But what do we find? We find a situation where we're going to, at least as far as I'm concerned, we do not know the end. It's the beginning we are seeing now. I've said this several times, it's the beginning we are seeing. But by the time the end comes, it probably will consume the whole political firmament of the nation.
People wey don chop belle full, if he want chop more, not be say he need that food though. He just dey chop am for chop him say he get access to am, he just dey chop. That is dem be o. So this kind of people, dem dey plenty for our country. Na that kind of people, na im be many politicians.
President of the companion, Musbaudin Oyefeso, says the discourse will not end there, but will be presented in a booklet and sent to the political leadership of the nation at all levels.
Yes, what we intend to do is to compile the reports. We are going to read the reports now, send it to the presidency, send it to all the state governors, and also all the local governments, the 774 local governments that we have in the country.
While his promise to make this available to the nation's leaders is commendable, it's only hoped that this will be a step forward in the nation's ongoing quest to true nationhood and development.
The consultative forum with the indigents of Kwara State and Lagos created an opportunity for the Kwara State government to interact with indigents residents in Lagos. The meeting brought together notable sons and daughters of Kwara. The executive governor of the state, Abdul Fattah Ahmed, delivered a speech entitled "The Journey So Far."
We have not had what we call a master plan in the country to support infrastructure. That's why you see our roads are so bad that it's difficult for you to even plan on the basis of the state of our roads. The issue of the one we just did some few weeks ago, which is engagement of about 5,200 youths. Governance is moving away from an era where people will just sit in government house and take decisions without carrying the people who own the government into consideration.
Some elder statesmen of Kwara descent gave their views on some national political issues.
There is something very, very simple. Communication is not one way. It has to be two ways. You have to receive feedback, and of course you have to put something across. So what we see happening here is simple communication. The people of Kwara State residing in Lagos State have decided that they wanted to meet with the governor, they want to talk to him, we want to assess what the promises he made to them about 3 years ago before he was elected, and they want to make sure that has he met up with their aspirations and the people that are living back home. When you begin to tinker with rules of the game in between the game itself, we had issues about the voters' cards, permanent voters' cards, temporary voters' cards. Quite a few people are disenfranchised. And what are we doing with their rights? Their rights were trampled upon. These people are not able to cast their own votes. Yes, there was a winner eventually because some people were disenfranchised. But
election is won not just on the day of election, but through preparation. So if since APC has lost, APC as a party is watching and looking at what made the party to fail in Ekiti and draw lessons for other parts of the federation. And for us in Kwara, Kwara is completely different from Ekiti.
John Kerry and I will now take you to Egypt. Please stay with us.
Core TV News, expanding your view.
Now, United States Secretary of State John Kerry arrived in Egypt on a surprise trip to push for democracy in the politically tumultuous country as Washington quietly releases $572 million in military aid. Kerry, the highest-ranking U.S. official to visit since President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi came to power, is to press the former army chief during his lightning trip to install greater political freedoms and discuss security challenges. The top U.S. diplomat tour is also focused on trying to find a political solution in Iraq, where Islamic militants are making new gains in an offensive that has triggered international concerns. Kerry says the U.S. is interested in working closely with the new government in order to make this transition
this is a critical
as
moment of
rapidly
transition
and smoothly
in
as
Egypt with enormous challenges. The United States is very interested in working closely with President al-Sisi and his cabinet and Egypt in order to help make this transition as rapidly and smoothly as possible.
We'll wrap it up. Thanks for watching. I'm Tolu Ojewumi. Good morning. Join us again on Top of the Hour.